Hello and welcome, everyone. It's your boy, Doc Williams, and today we're going to be talking about how you can monetize your data. This is going to teach you how to add one more stream of income in 2022. So come with me. Hello and welcome, everyone. You can hear my voice. Oh my goodness, it's having problems this morning. It's great to see all of you, and thank you so much for being here and being a part of this. Remember, this is Build With Me. So every single week, we teach you how you can be using your skills to start making a full-time income as a creator, as a maker, all of those things. So in the comment section down below, please let us know what you're working on, what your side hustle, what your business you're going to be working on for 2022. So as always, we have a guest and we have a special one in store today that we're going to bring up. First of all, how are we doing today?
Hey, great. Happy New Year, everybody. And I love your intro. It just kind of like pumped me up. Yeah, early morning, it's 8 o'clock, and I'm already like ready to go.
Good times. So if you don't mind, could you please tell us who you are and where you're from for today?
Yeah, so my name is Zoltan Perestegi, and I'm the co-founder of TrueSource. You asked where I'm from, so originally, if you might hear an accent there, I'm originally from Hungary, but I live in LA. I've been here for about 6 years. Before that, I lived a little bit in Spain as well. But I don't think I have a Spanish accent.
Well, it's great to see you, and thank you so much for being with us today. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about yourself, about a new product called TrueSource, and really seeing the potential, like we said at the beginning on the outset, how to monetize your data. So before we go into talking about TrueSource and all of these great things, of course, there's going to be links down below if you want to join the wait list, all of those things. Could you tell us a little bit about how we even got here? How did you start
Yeah.
working on TrueSource and all that stuff?
So my background is actually I'm the non-technical founder of TrueSource. So, and you will hear why and how that's relevant actually in a minute. I've been working in marketing and product, so like product management for the last, I don't know, I'm old, so I don't even want to say how many years. But I've had like a 4-year stint at Google. I was the founding country manager of Google back in Hungary. That was in 2006. From 2006. And I've since then I've founded multiple companies, but I've always been on the non-technical side. So I always, was relying on developers and working with developers. And don't get me wrong, Edward is probably listening, my co-founder listening now. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with working with a technical co-founder. But there's a beauty of being able to build things on your own, and I think mostly all of your listeners, I think, are in that boat most probably, and that's why you're here today. So I've been building companies, and I've also have been seeing, especially the last couple of years, I've been focusing a lot on marketplaces. And there's tons of data in marketplaces that are either accumulated or they're just lost, like pricing data, availability. There's a lot of things that you can actually capture and that you can potentially monetize or just make your services better with. And basically my co-founder, also ex-Google, he's the technical co-founder, Edward. And he comes from a different angle. He worked on the machine learning and data platform of Google, one of the founding engineers on those platforms. And we kind of started mingling on there's a Xugler alumni Slack channel, actually, for all the people who left Google. And we started talking about data and basically obviously about like founding a company together. And we were looking for angles, and we saw that no code has been kind of on the rise for a couple of years now. If you think about it, like 3 years ago, nobody even was talking about no code. Now it's one of the, obviously now Web3 is a even bigger wave probably, but no code and Web3 I think is something that's still out there, and no code is one of the biggest waves still. So we started talking about like data and no code, and we were looking at the space, like what are the options for like those individual creators, hackers, makers, builders. And we figured that there are lots of general solutions to develop apps and applications, products, and even businesses. But when it comes to data, we really saw that there was a niche that was not covered yet. So hence, we started talking to some indie makers, hackers, and talking to some people who were like hacking together their tech stack with different tools. And we just thought that, okay, like maybe if there was kind of a solution like Shopify, but made for data, where you can like very simply as a creator, a maker, builder, you can actually just bring your data set and go boom, publish and make it into a data product. That would be great. And hence TrueSource was born.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Great to hear it. So, this is a really good segue, like you were talking about, trying to bring all of those things in. I'm going to bring in one thing. As we were talking, when you were first saying this, I thought about this, and the audience knows about this quite a bit. It's called Get Cyber Leads. And we talk about this as a knowledge as a service, where you're having a database where you can be monetizing what you're doing. And with cyber leads, if you look at it, they had to use an Airtable base. They're already adding a lot of different things together to be able to do this. And like you said, it's Frankensteining some things together. But with TrueSource, am I understanding that it's pretty, well, we're going to be talking about it and releasing it tomorrow, but the process to get everything together is quite easy, actually.
So that's kind of the goal, is to have everything under one platform, as you were saying, so that you don't need to Frankenstein things together. Obviously, Airtable, you can integrate Airtable into a website. You can have Gumroad payments. Then you can try to manage your emails in a third platform, and then manage your analytics in a fourth platform. Or you can actually just use one platform where you pull all of that together and set it up in no more. I mean, I'm talking about a very simple data product. You set it up in no more than 2 minutes. I think you're
That's
muted.
excellent. Yeah, that's excellent to see. That's really interesting. And when we were talking about it, it reminded me, I believe you brought it up to me, it was more like Substack, where how people are needing to basically simplify what they're doing with their email marketing and optimizing for their newsletter, for paid newsletter. And if you don't mind, I would like to bring out, if anyone saw, there's a very high profile reporter, Ariel Hawani, who used to do everything with the UFC, with the ESPN. When he left ESPN, to streamline everything that he's doing with his media, he's working with Substack to create his newsletter, to basically streamline all of his media, all of those things. And then he's only working with that, and then a second team, the same one under the Ringer. So this basically streamlined his entire business process, being a solo creator, just using something like that. And as Substack is for writing, I really think TrueSource will be the same for data sets and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that example is pretty much what we're looking at, and it's a different segment of the creator economy. It's the writer skill set that Substack is serving for, and they're doing a great job. I would say a phenomenal job, especially recently. I mean, they still have almost like a hockey stick growth till this day. And as you're saying, like people with a following are flocking to Substack, and just to be the platform themselves, basically, who broadcast, and they don't need the news media anymore because they already have created the following. And I think, and we firmly believe that there are data creators out there as well. Just like I forgot the name of the website that you showed earlier. We actually have found multiple of those. They're also called informational products, where you basically put together knowledge, and you just want to capitalize on that knowledge, be it like a very direct monetization. So you say like, okay, who wants access to this Airtable or this data set that you put together has to pay $50, a one-time fee. You can say they have to pay $10 a month or $5 a month, and then you will update that data set like as they go. And there can be like updates along the way which really rationalize the monthly fee and the subscription. Or you can also say this is for free, and the real beauty and power of TrueSource comes to play here, when you say that, okay, why would it be worth for me to upload a data set to TrueSource for free? Because TrueSource is the only platform out there where actually you as a creator, you as an owner of a data set, you can actually open that up to the public, basically open it up to other creators. And those other creators can mash up your data and create data products. And the value that was created is actually shared back with you, the original contributor of that data set. So it's not only about directly creating monetizable data products, but basically anybody who takes the effort and downloads publicly available data, let's say from city or government websites, they can actually come and upload it, as long as they have the right to. I mean, I have to say that the it's always the responsibility of the creator to own the data and to have the right to publish that data. But as long as they have the right to publish that data, and as far as I know, public data sets, you can just do that, make a copy and upload it. You can actually be the one who shares that with the other parts of the data creator community on TrueSource. And I think this part is going to be really big in the future.
That's excellent. No, I just like to say too, we've already got someone, Patia, a vlog just signed up. Well, that's going to be awesome. Can't wait for you to start using this.
Awesome. Thank you.
This is good. This is good. So a lot of good stuff. People are saying, love this. This is good. We're going in the right direction. So this is really going to be powerful. And I think it's going to help a lot of people for sure. Could you actually, we were talking about this the other day, actually last month with Corey from Pelterion. Have you seen the Reddit that has all of these different scientists just setting out data sets in the subreddit groups that people can use?
Maybe that's there's a data set subreddit, and there's a data is beautiful subreddit as well, which is pretty big. So actually, yes. So I would just say that one of our thoughts, or one of our biggest questions was, when we started TrueSource, is just Google public data set. Just if you're listening to this, just put in public data set into Google. And Edward and myself were like, we have to do better than this as humanity, as tech creators, because there's a broken GitHub repository. I think that there's probably some ads, and then under the ad there's a GitHub repository that's broken, half broken, and that was like the first organic result. And if you're just looking for publicly available data, like why is there no better home for data? And like YouTube is the home of video, Reddit, as you were saying, is the home of communities, or maybe some people would argue that it's Discord these days, not that much Reddit. But there's homes for different kinds of communities and data, and we just figured that there are data marketplaces already out there, but those data marketplaces keep data siloed. And you go to Amazon Data Exchange and you can buy IMDb for $100,000. Like, good luck with that, trying to sell that to anybody who's not who's not Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, or Google. So like, who's going to buy that for $100,000? So we have to democratize data. And I think that was our premise. That was our starting thought when we started thinking of like, okay, how can we do that? We see that data is fragmented, but like there's a big chunk of data owned by the big companies, like the FANGs, Facebook's, Amazon's, Google's, Netflix's of the world, and Apple, and not to leave them out. But there's also a lot of data that's being captured by smaller players today, and small companies or even individuals, and they don't really have a way to monetize and capture the value of these data sets, and even log files sometimes that are captured. So yeah, going back to your original question of like, yeah, if you're looking for data, like where would you find it today? I think it's super difficult. Like, you seriously, like, you have to go to a Reddit chat forum and look and search in a Reddit group for data. Like, people are just like, posting like, hey, do you know where can I access this data, or where can I, or who has this data set? And there is no home for data today. So yeah, that's what I mean. We're it's a long journey, and that's a long-term vision for us to be the home of data. And we can really speak about like how we're going to get there, but I think the first step definitely is that we want to empower individual creators to monetize their data, to like to market, because we help them basically with TrueSource. Is it's not just the front end to your data set, because the magic is also in the setup of the product. And we host the data as well, and we create like the filters that you see on some of those samples. The filters are auto created based on the data type. So if we see that you have geodata in your data set, we're gonna show a map by default on your preview. So that's, you can then of course like take off that map from your data product if you don't want the map to show up. Or if there's a date range in your data set, there will be a date range selector as a filter offered by default. And you don't have to do anything. That's just, you upload your data set and it's there. Like 10 seconds later, everything is right there in your preview, and you just need to customize it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. This is going to be good, and there will be a video, by the way, that will be releasing very soon, where we actually go step by step. We might go and look at it a little bit today, but I think what's really important is everyone that's listening, they're trying to think about, you could be that creator on TrueSource to start building this thing out if you have data, all of those things, or if you have different information that you've categorized. If you don't mind, Zoltan, do you mind if I share a couple things and see what you think, if this would be a good case?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So real quick, everybody, if you're just joining or you're thinking about, hey, this sounds great, but how can I start? Remember, let's make this real easy for everybody, right? So if you want to use it, make sure sign up for TrueSource. You can get on the beta, join on the list to get access later on. But let's think about, we talk about CAS, knowledge as a service. So this is a platform where you can start to be monetizing your ideas. Zoltan, I would love to have your idea, because we actually have two different data sets that we've been doing in Notion, but do you think it would be good for us? So there's a popular podcast, My First Million, where I've been building out all of the different ideas and just keeping it in a database, a very basic one.
Yeah.
And then also to something called Docs, where it's all of my notes, all of the breakdown, what we're doing. Is it possible to take something like a Notion database or something like that, if it was in a CSV file, to now make this into something for TrueSource?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the easiest way right now is actually to download to a CSV and then upload. But we also have APIs in place. So yeah, there will be ways for us to connect directly to your Notion. Right now, TrueSource connects to Airtable, Google Sheets, or you can upload a CSV file. But we do have the APIs in place. So basically, it's also up to you to create, updates whenever you want to, or delete records, or just refresh records whenever you want to. So yes, but I mean, seeing this right here on my screen, I mean, this is a pretty simple, data set, because I see like two columns, basically the ideas, and then there's kind of a rating to it, right?
Yeah. And I would say sometimes I'll have a little bit more where I'm breaking down just how I would have the resources or other links, examples of it, what I would do, things like that. So it
Yeah.
would, yeah, it would
So
be, yeah.
so the interesting thing here would be if you would combine this with your docs,
Mm.
because then if these ideas are linked to some documents, then that's where a little bit of our platform shines, because the connections are very easy to make. So if you have multiple tables that are related and have connectors, what we call connectors, then it's super easy to set that up and to make something. Just as an illustration, I hope most of your listeners would know what Crunchbase is. It's kind of it's a data product. We call that a data product. Basically, it has your startups, it has your VCs or investors, and then it has investment events. So there are like three different tables, and the investment events are the ones that kind of connect the startups to the investors. So if there's multiple tables, and you want to link them together and make it super easy for users or end users or consumers to navigate, I think that's where TrueSource is going to shine, and that's where the ease of the setup will show, as compared to, I would say, of course, like you can build data product in Wix, or whatever no code platform where you can build a website, but it's going to be super complex and difficult. And I don't get me wrong, I love Bubble, for example, but Bubble is good for many things. It's super complex. I know, as a non-technical person, I got lost in Bubble a couple of times when I tried to use it, and I was like, okay, this is like, okay, I don't really know how to do this. And then it takes time for you to learn, so there's a learning curve there. But with TrueSource, I think if you're considering working with data and having your product focused on data, I think TrueSource is the easiest platform. I was just about to say today, but actually tomorrow, or next week, when we're planning to release it to the wider public. So yeah, it's coming in a couple of weeks. Right now, we're gonna have to ask for a little more patience as we squash the last bugs in our alpha version.
Not a problem. Well, this is good. And again, the reason, if you're the first time you're watching this, we always bring, we find the we're looking for potential and we're looking for innovation. So if you're an alpha, that's totally fine, because when we were talking about this last month, I think this is just going to be one of our top picks for 2022 of an easy way for makers and creators to start monetizing and having another place to leverage their skill and their data. So yeah, we're excited for that, and when it launches on Product Hunt.
Yeah. So the I would say, like, if you're listening to this and you say like, oh, I don't have data. Thank you, Christian. What was it,
We got a
Christian?
couple.
You're too
Yeah.
fast for me.
Got a couple. So
So
thank you
so
very
if
much.
you're listening to this and you say like, well, I don't have data. I mean, I respectfully disagree, because I think if you're working with anything, any vertical, or you just have a hobby, you're into wine, let's say, and you have a wine collection, or you're collecting Legos, or whatever it is that you're into, you can have data if you capture it. And like, you might need to manually capture it, like you might, if you're really into Legos or wine, just to stick to these examples, you might already have a spreadsheet about like which sets you have, what are the numbers, how many parts they have, and like all sorts of data. There's I would say a type of person who really likes data, and they like capture everything into spreadsheets. You might not be that person, but you still have data if you haven't captured it so far. It's just maybe you need to scrape the web for that data, and there are no code scrapers out there. So that's something that we can potentially look into in the future, as to like how to capture data. The chat is too fast for me, or I'm a slow reader, or the chat is too fast for me.
I'm trying to pick them out from. So we've got people commenting from YouTube. Some people are on Twitter. Some people are all over the place. So we're bringing them in. But not a problem. I'll bring them in, Philly. Here, I'll talk about it. So you just keep going. It's not a problem.
Yeah. So it's I think that capturing the data is one part. Cleaning the data is the other part. It's important that especially if you want to share it with other creators in the future. And I'm we're just about to release this product, so I think we're everybody will just need to stick with us. And we have a Slack channel where we already are like listening to feedback from our alpha testers. So when you sign up to the wait list, you actually get the access to how to sign up to our Slack channel. We'd love everybody to be there and form a community of data creators there. Basically going back to like what we're doing right now is building the basics, and we see that some creators will need help with scraping the data or creating the database or setting the data set, setting it up in the first place. Then some will need help with cleaning it. Some will need help in how to connect with others. And the reliability of your data will come into play later, as hopefully in the near future these connections will happen, and then there will be maybe some overlaps between data, and then there will be a question like, okay, but whose data is more reliable, whose data is kept fresher, who's the better creator that I should be connecting with. And we might have rating of data sets, we might have ratings of data creators, just like you're going to have a profile, and it's I hate to say social network, but it will at one point, if we're doing it right and you guys come to our platform, then we'd love to be the place where data creators connect.
Excellent. I love it. So we've got a couple things from, I believe Lucas, I think, was talking about best way is just to find a use case for data or someone or somehow organize it. Don't know which one. Yeah. And, and that's, as we're looking at this, there's so many different ways to go about it, different ones that can start utilizing this. Let me ask you this. If you were going to just pick maybe one or two best use cases you've seen so far, is there some use case that sticks out in your mind, or something that you're like, wow, this is really impressive? Could you talk about that?
First a short shout out to, I think Lukasz would be the pronunciation in Polish, and Polak Węgier dwa bratanki. Just a little shout out to us semi-homie there. It's a Polish name. So use cases. We've seen a lot of people build data products already around corporate or company data. So that's something that seems like a low-hanging fruit, that it's out there, it's public. And if you think about what Crunchbase is doing, Crunchbase is just gathering government data. And also I think they're doing more than just that, or they probably started out like that, and I think now they are trying to keep in touch and gather data directly from startups and investors. But so corporate or company data is one area. Another area I was talking about Web3 earlier is crypto. There's like NFTs and all the altcoins, and like what's happening in the crypto world. It's super difficult to it's super difficult to. Okay, my Polish is a little limited here. But so it's crypto is, yeah, it's there's a ton of data out there, but it's very difficult to know, like, okay, what's up and coming and what's reliable, and what is noise and what is the signal, basically, in the crypto world. I mean, I'm a little bit into it, and I'm following some people on Twitter, and it's really overwhelming. So if there was, and actually there is already, kind of a crypto crunch base that one of our creators have set up, and we'd really love to work more closely with them, where it's crypto investors and crypto companies come together, and they're just focusing on crypto. So that's another area. But then we have points of interests. So like we have a creator who's setting up points of interest data in one country in Europe. I don't want to be very specific here without their consent, but it's like one country in Europe where they're like setting up all points of interest, and they're organizing it into a data product. There will be other companies that's more like a B2B case there, where they're hoping to sell it to other companies. There's another use case where somebody's focusing on mortality data, which is kind of a hype now with COVID. There's a lot of interest in like especially health service providers, insurance companies. So they're just gathering that data, and they're looking for a home for that. So there's like extreme cases, I would say. Like I would call the mortality data use case really extreme, but it's like anything that you think is valuable. So if you have a collection of your growth hacking tools, then you can just create a data product out of it and say, like, okay, I'm going to be updating this with the coolest tools throughout 2022 and selling it for $5, $10 a month. We know somebody who's making close to $5,000 with some informational product. So it's not only a side gig opportunity, but potentially, depending on where you live in LA, I would say 5,000, like, good luck. But yeah, depending on where you live, $5,000 can be like a great salary.
I love it.
So yeah, and you don't have to live in a high expense market or city to be able to create this product for people living in LA, or it can be a restaurant, like Michelin star restaurants in Atlanta, or whatever, and you can gather that data easily. And the question is whether you have the following, you have the way to distribute that. We will in the future help you with distribution, especially as we move more towards becoming a data marketplace, through opening up and creating that community, so that your Michelin star restaurant data product in Atlanta or whichever other city will become useful for somebody else who is one example that I kind of like is we have a sample data product on New York City parks. And that data product it's just beautiful because there's lots of pictures, and the parks are shown in a form of cards, and all that data came from CSV files downloaded from the City of New York's website. It's totally useless how the city is sharing it. And whenever I talk to creators who live in New York, they're like, man, I really need this. Like I where can I find this, or why isn't this available? So we've actually been talking to the city. I mean, obviously you can imagine it's not a short process to establish relationships and to see whether they can actually use this as a live data product on their website, or at least link to it. But let's say you want to establish a dog walking business in New York, and or you want to establish, sorry, not a business, but a dog walking data product, or later you want to maybe turn it into a marketplace. You actually will find the park data set super useful for yourself, because if you're walking dogs, you want to know where parks are. If you have a dog hotel, as a dog owner, you want your dog hotel to be close to a park so that your owners can your sitters can take your dogs for walks. So there's multiple ways where this park data set can become useful. And you can live in Thailand and download the data from the CSV file from the city of New York and upload it to TrueSource and make it useful to tens or hundreds of other creators. So it's really up to your fantasy and your imagination at this point to see like what can you create with TrueSource.
I love it. This is great. So we have a couple questions coming in, and one use case we have from Twitter. People want to know about this. This is great. Everyone's coming out of the woodwork for this. So I believe Jensa, am I saying it correctly? It says, "Hey guys, great product. Congrats. Finally, a proper platform to monetize our countless hours trying to keep our databases up to date. I wonder if we can create collections together with other creators." And I think you answered that earlier, but could you talk about that?
Yeah, so right now it's up to the creator. So full access control is up to the creator. So as a creator, you can say, okay, everybody can see my data, and also everybody can connect and use my data. So if it's free, it's free. That's you have full control over that. Another step is when you say like, okay, it's free, I want to make it free for everybody, but actually I want to capture at least the email addresses of the people who are using and accessing my data. So then you hide your data behind the login wall, and then on the collaboration creator side, you can now also say that, okay, I want to share my data, but I only want to share it with other creators who will hide it behind the login wall, because I want to capture all those email addresses. And then the most aggressive, so to speak, model would be that, okay, you want to monetize your data. And then right now we have these two models of like a one-time fee or a monthly subscription. But we're listening to creators, and there can be ways to like hide some specific rows, hide specific columns, or make data available as time goes on. I mean, we can definitely develop multiple other ways of collaboration and monetization. So it's up to you. So please join our Slack channel. Tell us exactly how you would like to collaborate with others, and we'll make it happen. I mean, right now, the fact that we have the Slack channel and you can talk to there's already, I mean, we're pre-launch, I'm saying that, but there's already, I think, about 60 or 70 people in our Slack community. So come join there. There's 59 or 60 other people like you who is thinking about monetizing data and setting up data products. So yeah.
Good stuff.
And
Good stuff.
you'll see the Slack channel if you join the wait list. You'll see the link to the Slack channel right there.
Excellent. So there's a couple other ones as well. This is coming from Twitter. We have so many different people that talk about Web3 and what's going on with NFTs. You brought up a great point. So someone was asking, let me bring it up. They're talking about kingdata.com, which is talking about early invest for return on investment, DeFi projects, things like that. They were asking, how would someone start to bring in their data if they want to start monitoring crypto? Would they go into looking at different APIs with different platforms and then bring it in through that way? Would you suggest kind of almost, oh, this is very detailed. Someone's asking a question about, would they aggregate what creators are saying on Twitter and then bring that in from a CSV? So I think they're asking, what would be the best path to do something like this on TrueSource? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, thoughts are, I mean, I'm going back to the what I said earlier, is like right now we don't have scrapers.
Yeah.
And Twitter. Does Twitter have APIs? They might have it. Yeah, they do, I think. So yeah, it would be possible. And as a matter of fact, I set up a data product while we were testing on all the Squid Game Twitter mentions. It was kind of a crazy world a couple of months ago when everybody was going nuts about Squid Game. And so it is possible to do. And yeah, all you need to do is basically capture data from Twitter. Right now, today, I would probably do that in the form of a CSV file. But if you really want to do this, talk to us. And yeah, we can make it happen. We can create those connections to data sources that are out there. So we have the APIs in place. It's definitely an opportunity that we can create those connections. But yeah, as I've said, we're pre-launch at this point, so just bear with us. Tell us what you want to build, how you want to build it. And we're all ears, we're listening. And yeah, we're building this platform for you guys. One thing that we haven't mentioned, and I'm a little bit surprised nobody's been asking, but maybe you guys have checked out the website and you already know, is that there's no platform fee whatsoever. So it's completely free to set up your data product. And the only way we make money is if you make money. That's the good news. So we're like super interested in making you guys or just making you guys make more money, because that means that we're going to be making more money. We're taking a revenue share. Basically, it's a revenue share model that we have. You're going to be keeping 85%, and we take 15%, and out of that 15% we cover everything, so all the payment fees, and also the contributing creators, if there will be paid off that our share as well. So yeah, that's something that is work in progress. And we'll have to see how that works and whether that's going to cover and make the contributing creators happy. But we believe that that's a fair model, and doesn't even come close to like Uber, which takes 50% or sometimes even more than 50% of drivers' revenue. We really want to keep it fair and and also transparent, by the way. So transparency is something that, when you work with data, I think it's super important that we need to be transparent. Like the data stays yours. We don't own the data. The users, even though users have to register onto our platform, we share their email addresses with you. So that's something, again, that they become your users as well. And yeah, it's we are a little bit slower on, I would say, on PIIs. So the person.
What does that mean?
The personally identifiable information, I think, is the correct like long term for it. We ask everybody to kind of not to put up like personal information right now not to upload personal information onto our platform. Because there's lots of local regulations, especially in Europe, but also in California. We have to comply with regulations. If there's somebody's personal email addresses, phone numbers, addresses, social security numbers, whatsoever, whatnot, uploaded to our platform, we ask to hold back with that. If you want to work with PII, again, get in touch with us. Let's talk. We'd like to understand what your use cases, and we're going to create the framework for that with our we definitely will need some legal help there, because we want to do this the right way, and it's a little bit tricky with different laws and regulations in every country.
That makes sense. Well, this is great. This is people are saying loving it. I'm seeing people are going to say we're going to get in touch. I can't bring in the Twitter comments exactly because they're from all over, so I can only bring them from a couple of sources. But I'm checking right now. So this is really good from D Live. People are saying great. Can't wait to see more. Very interested. are you allowed to give a date kind of when you're going to be launching coming up in the next couple of weeks, or
Um,
stay tuned?
it's at this point, stay tuned,
Okay.
where we very much hope it's going to be next week.
Hmm.
But
Nice.
I'm not giving any promises here. If you sign up to the wait list, you will definitely know, and yeah, we will be in touch very soon. But yeah,
Excellent.
also, just should I say, just, all the social media, like, yeah, follow us
Yep.
on Twitter and LinkedIn. You just search for TrueSource, and yeah, hopefully you'll find us.
Love it. Now, before you go, real quick, and by the way, get in your last questions right now. Let us know. We were talking about this off air about a month ago, but we wanted you to, because you worked at Google. We get a lot of people that are asking how can they start working for different companies, right? We get a lot of questions in the comment section. They want to learn a skill so they can be working at the Googles, the Facebooks, all of those types of companies. And could you just talk about the process that you had to go through to actually make it into Google? It was years ago, but I
Yeah.
think that would really shed some light of the process or something like that.
Yeah, I would say my case was a really special case, because I was the first employee in my home country, which is Hungary. So yeah, when I say the number of interviews or the number of people I talk to, people are like, "What?" So that number is 17.
Okay.
And that's actually 13. I believe it was like 13 interviews. So like on one call, the last call was like kind of a legal or compliance call, when they were asking like, okay, like I was the first employee, so they were like, okay, are you related to any politicians, like what sorts of, like, yeah, it was kind of a strange last interview. But other than that, so Google is, I think they still are doing like multiple stakeholders always involved in interviews. And it, like, strangely enough, like, you can be interviewing your future boss. So it's like that also happens. It's not only peers and the hiring manager, obviously, but then some people working on the team are going to be interviewing who they will be reporting to. So they will be like, okay, I don't like this person, I don't want to work for them. um, One other thing which actually has changed, so it's not that much relevant, but if you search for, there used to be these. I actually don't even remember the exact phrase, how like brain teaser questions. If you search for Google interview questions, you probably still will find them, but I think they don't use them anymore. Like one of the questions I was asked is like, how many tennis balls fit into a Boeing 737 or 747? I don't remember. And then you're put on the spot, and yeah, your mental math is like how much about just really uh yeah, your math skills, but also I would say your problem solving skills. Like, okay, like what are the things that you will take into consideration with that? Like, will you think that the plane actually has a cargo space and a passenger space? Will you think that the seats actually take up space when you calculate like the length and the width of the plane? And like, how is it's a pretty complex problem to solve, and you have like an X amount of time, and the task is to arrive at a number by the end of that time. So like, I mean, I also asked this question, and a couple of people just freeze. So they just don't know how to like start, because they say like, well, there's no way I can actually give you this number, so I won't even start.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, what I would encourage everybody to do is just, yeah, like open up during the interviews. I don't think Google and Facebook and the big tech companies are so religious about education and school anymore. So they used to be. Well, of course, I get a call. So they used to be like super religious about Ivy League schools and just the best. They hire only from the best schools. Now I don't think you even need a degree to get into Google anymore. Um, and yeah, I mean, you need to show your ability and your will to always go and go the extra mile. Basically, that's, I think, the most important skill that you need to demonstrate on these interviews, is that you're not average.
That's
and
very
and
interesting.
and they will be asking examples about this from your past, and you will need to demonstrate this through your interview, as well as to, like, always doing a little bit more than what's asked of you. And that kind of shows that your passion, that you really want to work for Google, that this is or Facebook, or whichever company. But yeah, I mean, I think this goes for all companies. If you demonstrate that, and you can make that come through, that this is your dream job, then it will just work.
That's excellent. Well, thank you. That is one of the top 3 most requested regarding when we talk about skills, where can they be going, how to get hired. So thank you so much. And I'm not sure if oh, and Erica's saying great show. This is great. Glad you're enjoying it, Erica. um, uh,
Thank you.
One last thing too, and I'm not sure if you remember saying this, but when I asked you about this, do you remember what you said? If you would, well, let me just ask you a question.
Yeah.
If it was starting today, would you go and try to work for Google, or what would you do?
Okay, this is a trick question, because I don't remember what I told you.
Well, I'll just say it because I thought this was excellent. I was like, oh man, we should have recorded this. But you were talking about that right now in the space with Web3 and no code, you would build
Yeah.
a community, start working on your own projects, have that as a portfolio,
Yeah.
still go after the big ones if you want to. But right now, this opportunity
Yeah.
in the time and space,
Yeah, I mean,
go do it now.
I would second myself there still. So I think that with Web3 and with no code, I I have some doubts about, like, what is the added value, and also, like, the fangs are a little slower growth at this point. So I mean, when I was at Google, it was thriving, and growing like crazy. So it was kind of still a startup. It was not really a startup, but still behaved like a startup. Now I think, like, Google became the Microsoft, like, but like Microsoft used to be a startup, but then they became a giant, and then they came Google, and then there's there's new companies out there that are the true sources of the world, that are actually, like, trying to dethrone some of big tech. And we hope that we're going to do that with our community based approach.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Remember, hold on real quick after we wrap this up, but thank you for everyone. Remember, check out TrueSource.io. You can get on the wait list right now. You get access to the Slack channel. I see a number of you that have already signed up. Thank you so much for doing that. Remember, you'll be able to talk to the founding team. You'll be able to start shaping what they're planning to do and to help the community, help the makers and creators out there. Make sure you, of course, check them out on LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere you can find them. Go follow them right now, and we'll be right there. If you have more questions, remember, we're releasing a walkthrough video later on. If you have any questions, in the comment section down below of this video or that one, make sure you check it out. And if you like these kind of interviews, if you like us bringing these cutting edge platforms to you and the founders, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We do this every single week. So again, Zoltan, thank you so much for taking the time and for being
Awesome.
with us today.
Thank you very much, Doc. I really enjoyed being on your show. Thank you.